Well, congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
It's excellent.
Cheers.
One of the best things about your performance is you managed to make Catherine a very sympathetic character.
I had to.
Well on that. How sympathetic did you originally find her, and how important was that to the role?
So, for me, when reading the script, obviously, I can imagine it how it's supposed to be. Obviously, when reading something, you play it how you want it to play. The difficult bit is putting it down into your acting. It's figuring it out. How am I going to make the audience love me? At what point do they now hate me? At what point do they support me until it's too far? And that, to me, was probably one of the most interesting things. That's something that really drew me to the role, was playing both girl and woman in two separate, completely separate bodies. And she's a pretty interesting character.
She certainly is. She certainly is. Was there any particular aspect that you identified most with?
I just thought she was so feisty, and that is me.
Great.
Telling someone no. And I thought that whole kickback and that whole rebellion was perfect. And I was dying to do that bit of the film. And, I'd have so many on-set conversations with Will where I'd be like, I just don't like it and I don't want to do this. And, regarding to these men imprisoning her. And Will has to go, yeah, but Florence, you're in this period and women didn't act like this. And I'm like, I know. So, yeah.
I was going to ask, it's quite a quiet film for a film about sort of conspiracy and murder, and that was that a directorial decision or something that you read into the part?
I think where that comes from is because she's basically stuck in this house. There's not much, even as an actor, there's not much that you can do with that other than you're just stuck in a house doing nothing with nothing to do, and you're allowed to do nothing. That reads pretty obvious to me, and her stuck with her own thoughts sums it all up. Lots of people say to me, for a lead that's in the majority of the film, you don't say much, and I always find that quite interesting. She doesn't really say much until she's with Sebastian. And so actually, that also proves the same point, is that she has nothing to do. That's why it's so still, that's why it's so silent, that's why it shows pretty bluntly that she's bored, basically.
Very much so. And you mentioned, obviously, this is a lead role, and how different has it been playing a lead role to a supporting character?
So my first film, I was supporting lead, and that was awesome because I had space to learn and I had space to just watch people in their element. Obviously, this was my first lead in a feature film, so I didn't really know that much from before. I was winging it a lot of the time. And I still to this day don't really know that much. I like learning on jobs. It's great because you watch people above you, below you, know more or less, and you can teach and you can learn at the same time. And I think that's probably one of the best things about set, is you're constantly learning everything. And especially on this film, it was such a collaborative creation. We were all living in the same area, we were all filming in the same location, which is very rare. You don't really come across that. So we became family very quickly. Hierarchy went out the window, and cast and crew were pretty much together most of the time.
Fantastic.
So it just made this whole experience a joint effort, and the success that's coming off it now is a really great feeling.
And what about the accent?
So accents, to me, I take them really seriously. I really want to ace them. I hate watching films where you go, oh, but I can tell you're from Scotland.
That's not a dig at Ewan McGregor, is it? Because he's a particular offender.
No. For me, that is so important because it takes you up the story straight away. You automatically go, oh, but they're an actor. And so that was something that we all took very seriously straight away. We got the accent, we knew where we were supposed to be from, and both Cosmo, Naomi, and I, we would just, when we moved up there, we had 2 weeks of rehearsal. So whenever we went shopping to get the weekly shop, we would just wander around Sainsbury's asking people how you'd say certain words, or, asking taxi drivers to say a certain sentence. And we just basically wanted to sound from the area. And you can't really do that unless you ask the people of the area.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned Cosmo Jarvis. I noticed that you both have a singing element in your career. Did you talk about that?
Sadly, we didn't really collaborate on this shoot. Naomi brought a ukulele and we did a couple of drunken sing-songs when we were doing rehearsals. But no, you know, I love Cosmo's music. I bought so much of it, and I was listening to it when we were rehearsing and filming. And he did promise me that I would do a music video with him, so
we look
hold
forward
him
to
to
it.
that.
Yeah, very exciting. And the book itself, was that important that it was sort of, was that a touchstone for the film? Obviously, it's an adaptation, but was it important to read that, or was it film was its own thing?
I didn't read it, and lots of people have been like, "Oh, surely that would be the most important thing to do," and I kind of disagree because the story isn't. It's adapted. It's not the original story, and for me, the storyline was all in the script. Alice had done such a brilliant job of making it so heartfelt and so horrifying. I didn't really need more of Catherine. I didn't really need to find more of her. I brought my bit and I took the rest from the script that Alice had given. And I thought that that was quite important just to study that story as opposed to, you know, what the original was. But obviously Will did all of that. He did lots of that.